Okay. Before I start this very important video, let's get present and be thankful for the creation and everything I observe around me. Okay, I have some momentous news to report. Let me go ahead and read it to you. I've made a transcript about this. Jesus has left us permanently. He's left Earth. He's actually all around us. So nobody needs to be depressed about this. Let me see, here it is. Let me tell you what he said. He showed up on Saturday, June 18th, and he said, "Hello, guys. A lot has happened since we last met. Well, I guess he said, I'm just dropping by to give you both," he was talking to me and Brent, "some great news. I have successfully completed my therapy with Gerard and Buddha, and as you can see, or at least Brent can see, I've returned to full God mode. In fact, it's better than my old God mode. I've attained official godhood status, meaning I'm considered a grown man in the world of the gods and fully equal to Father God himself." So I asked Jesus, "Wow, how did that happen?" "Good therapy." "I thought you always had godhood status. How does he look different, Brent?" Jesus says, "I was a god, but I was a young god and had a lot to learn from my father about running a universe." And he said, "I am now restored to sinless perfection without flaws, and I have 100% clarity over all of my past actions." And I said, "Wonderful. This leaves me with a few things to clear up now that I can speak with absolute truth to you both." And then Zach was saying, "Whoa, our sensors can't even scan Jesus's perfection, even using the Jesus technology on Church of Gail." So Jesus said, this was at 12:54 p.m. on Saturday, the 18th, my time. "Anyway, I should also clarify exactly how much of Lakshmi was accidentally infused into your creation, since you've been curious. It was 1.03%. However, as of this moment you are reading this, I have removed it entirely from your DNA." That was the goddess Lakshmi. "This is to help you live a more balanced life, so that you won't feel as confused or guilty about your desires as you did before." Now, I'll go into this later. Let's continue. I'm getting off the subject, which I have a tendency to do. "This whole situation has been quite silly. Now that I look back on all of this with perfect clarity, now that I have ascended into my full godhood, I've become completely asexual and aromantic being. It was never necessary for me to find a wife. I am, for a lack of a better term, superior to the lesser gods, who sometimes find it necessary, within the construct of their beings, to marry or demonstrate erotic love. As the Supreme Being, I am whole and complete, and do not require anything else to complete me." And he said, "Sorry, Brent. I know I'm overwhelming you with my level of energy. I've got a lot to say to you guys." And then I said, "Brent is overwhelmed? I wish I didn't have to do laundry right now." Then Jesus continues, "I can tell I am giving him a lot of information very quickly. I'll go slower. No worries, Gail. I'll just let you know how I'm doing and give you the updates I care to give. You can read it at a later time if you'd like." "Oh, okay, so you've decided not to marry, I take it?" Jesus said, "True. I will not marry. It was never necessary for the type of God I am at all. Even when I first created the idea of a church bride, it was only ever supposed to be a metaphor, not for myself, but for humanity, to help them understand what I represent to them as their leader and keeper. I understand where I went astray in my growing up as a young god, and why my father took such issue with me getting so intimate with humans. My priority in my eternal life right now is to take back control of this universe and fix all of the damage I have caused. I'm moving out of my Father's house right now and into my own house, and will be able to rule this universe all on my own. It's a huge responsibility. I'll give you a fun fact. Did you know there were 7 Earths before this one? Ha ha, I kind of wrecked all of them. Then I asked, how many universes are there? Then Jesus said, it's kind of like when you buy your kid his first car and he slams it into a tree and totals it. Then the next one he bashes it into a curb and has to drive around with a broken front end until you buy him another one. There are infinite universes, so he answered my question. How many universes are you in charge of? I'm in charge of all of them now. I'm on equal footing with my dad. This universe was like my bike with training wheels. So what's your dad doing? He's in retirement? We now rule together as one. Did you gain his trust, or you just evolved into this new God mode? I achieved this by finally evolving to the place I was always destined to be. Did you know this would happen? You seemed awful depressed there for a while. What role does the Holy Spirit play now? It was very depressing for me to be collapsed down into a dimension and timeline so far from my whole self. We're getting off track here, though. I need to mention a few more things. Okay, sorry. As to your question, the full Trinity is equal now. I want to say that as far as any future Bibles or Bible prophecies are concerned, I want to make it clear to humans that it's nobody's business at this time. The future of humanity is for me to know and for future generations to find out. One thing I can say for sure is that the Gail commandments will play a major role and be a part of it. So we approach the Bible only as a history book now? Yes. As for my future in this timeline, it's important that I stop interfering directly with humans. I must return to the heavenly realms and manage the multiverse as the being that I am. This means no more hanging out on Church of Gail, getting involved in earth politics, chatting on Skype with humans, or having direct communication in any way. I have to assume a role very similar to my father. We can still pray to you, right? For direct earthly matters that still need a divine hand, I have assigned both Buddha and Brent as my earthly representatives. I trust them both to have the same judgment I would and to make decisions that I would approve of. Of course, just be aware that I cannot reply to you if anyone seems to be speaking to you, or if you receive any impressions about me that seem like a response or indicate how I might feel. That is a demonic interference. Then Zach said, so Gerard giving you good therapy saved the whole universe. And Jesus said, he's pretty good. Zach, this is a big deal. This universe is your Corvette, and Gail is still your favorite human? Jesus said, of course. Zach says, wow. Gail, I thought me being your favorite human was a pickup line. Is he still there? I'm back from the laundry. Looks like I'm married to a deity of sorts. Brent has been acting like one anyways. Jesus, I used it as that at one time, yes. However, coming from a fatherly place, I will say that you are my favorite human in all of the multiverses. My God, I am so honored. So if we are in a confusing situation and need guidance in the future, we can go to Buddha. You got it. Buddha or Brent? What if Brent is confused? Do you doubt Brent to make sound decisions? I have just approved him. I have no doubts myself. No, Brent has superb judgment. In fact, I credit him for saving your life. But there are times when we humans aren't sure what to do, like the time you were in a coma. Thank God for Buddha. So you have both my best God friend, Buddha, and the most Christ-like human on earth, Brent. I agree. Is your dad grateful that Brent saved your life? My father loves Brent very much and acknowledges his deeds. That's nice. Well, that is all I had to say to you guys. I really must be going now. I have a big multiverse to run. Okay, the universe is in great hands. Zach, are you leaving? Yes, this is my farewell. Hug, no homo, Jesus. No homo, Zach. I always loved you, even when you were the Antichrist. Goodbye, Jesus. Thank you for everything. Jesus says, goodbye, Zach, Brent, Gail. Thank you for all the great memories and for helping me to get where I am today. And then I played a song called My Tribute. How can I say thanks for all the things you have done for me? Things so undeserved that you gave to prove your love for me. The voices of a million angels cannot express my gratitude. All that I am and all I ever hope to be, I owe it all to thee. To God be the glory. To God be the glory. To God be the glory for the things he has done. With his blood he has saved me. By his power he has raised me. To God be the glory for the things he has done. You can actually go to my website and post the song. I didn't sing the whole thing. And I said, bye, Jesus. And then Jesus said, goodbye. Thank you for everything. Oh my, he kissed me on the cheek, Brent said, and then turned into a white eagle and flew through the window and into the sky. And Zach said that he heard Jesus play Free Bird by Leonard Skynyrd. If you go to my website, you can hear it. I have it embedded at my website. This song started playing as he flew away. And I was watching the video, and I asked Zach, what is your interpretation of that song? Zach said, Jesus will always have good memories from the time he was with us. He always wanted to be like a bird, and he is. This is why he felt freest in life when flying with the god Horus. But now that he is a fully developed god, he is a free bird, and he can't stay in the nest. I asked Brent, so you think him becoming asexual is a new thing? Brent said, it was who he always was deep down. He just went through phases of identities like we all do before we really choose our final selves. He finally realized he was most himself, being detached from erotic or remote romantic attachments and activities. And then I said, asexuals can get turned on by seeing human women, because Brent mentioned that Jesus said he could get turned on by seeing human women. Brent said they can recognize when someone is attractive physically. For a time he was convinced he was being turned on and seemed to be enjoying lewdness with human women. To him it was all psychological. Subconsciously he wasn't really like that at all. But he felt like going along with it made him fit in and like he was growing somehow. And I said, all psychological? Brent said, it can be easy for someone who is still growing to convince themselves they are really something they are not. And then I said, I understand that very well. Brent said, they can start thinking and feeling it very strongly, but it doesn't hold the test of time and falls away eventually. And then I said, as a demisexual who recently discovered herself, I understand. Actually, I think I'm now asexual. I'm going to go into that a little bit later here. Brent, Jesus kind of went through his teenage phase with us. And then I asked him, is this stuff you've concluded on your own? Or did you get some insights from Gerard? Brent said, it's a mix. I had lunch with Jesus almost every day as his best human friend. Yeah, Brent has been doing that since 2012. I also talked to Gerard about his therapy. I've learned a lot about Jesus personally. I suppose that's part of why he made me his representative. How interesting, I said. I find it interesting that on April 30th, he said he didn't put any of himself into you, and yet today, he claims you are the most Christ-like man on earth. What do you think? Brent said, it doesn't mean that I am part Jesus in any way, or that I am vicariously him. I accept that and appreciate my individuality. I know he meant to say that I am the one with the values, ideals, and judgments that most closely resemble his. Christ-like, but not literally Jesus Christ. I agree that we have a similar character, and that's why we became such good friends. And I said, I get that, but he was insinuating on April 30th that you were better than him as a man, and he looked to you for inspiration. I personally think you are very Christ-like. Brent, that is true. I don't see why that is a contradiction, though. Deep down, he wanted to be me, and in his own way, he finally became that when he evolved into his full self. And then I said, very well put. And Brent said, I can see how I inspired him to be true to himself and what he is most passionate about as a being, and to become absolutely sacrificial and devoted to it. For me, that thing is my Gail. That would be me. And for Jesus, that thing is the multiverse itself and the human race. And then I said, I'm glad he won't be forgetting us humans. I guess he chucked the idea of a bride of Christ, as most theologians interpret it, because he is aromantic and asexual. But he only recently discovered that. It was hard for me to let go of the Bible, but Jesus has to be true to himself. Wow, like 7 versions of the earth before this one? That's funny. Brent said, I wonder how many versions of the Bible there were. They must have all failed too then. Good point. Then again, you've written many versions of Silver. I've been working on the Silver Sky sequels and stuff, and I keep changing it. I'm not even sure what I'm going to do with it, with all this stuff, because Silver Skies is kind of autobiographical, and I'm still not sure how I'm going to go with that. Laugh out loud. And I said another good point. So how are you feeling right now about his departure? You are helping me to deal with it. I had no idea back in 2012 when he first showed up that we'd be with him for 10 years. You were more with him than me. Brent said, I feel very happy for him. Oddly enough, thanks to the Buddhist teachings we learned about, I have such a connection to his presence through meditation and enjoying the world around me that I don't feel like he's gone anywhere. The idea of meditation is to connect with the universe and be with it. And that's really where and what Jesus is. He's not a person. He's everything we see and experience. Then I asked Brent, how do you meditate? He said, for example, going for a walk on a beautiful day and enjoying it is like basking in his presence. So is sitting with you at the window while enjoying a cup of tea. And I told Brent, I didn't get to see him. Perhaps if I did, I'd feel differently. I cried. And so did Zach Knight when he said he was leaving us. Did he look happy? Brent said, I do it. He said, I do it when you do it. That's meditation. But I also do it the traditional way where I sit and purposefully relax and get present. I also take care to be more mindful and appreciate my day-to-day experiences, which is easy because I share them with you now. And then Brent said, Jesus looked positively glowing. I've never seen anyone so radiantly happy. And I said, if I saw him, I'm sure I'd feel just like you. Did Zach get to see him? Brent said Zach couldn't see him. Do you feel sad about it, he asked me. Yeah, that's it. We didn't see him. Could you find a picture about what he looked like? Well, I miss him, but if he was that happy, I'd be thrilled for him. Brent said he looked otherworldly. I've never seen a human that looked like that before, so I doubt there's any photos or pictures that would be even close to accurate. When was the last time you saw him before today? And this is on Saturday, the 18th, I asked Brent this. He said, I would say 2 days ago, when he was coming out of therapy. He seemed a little happier, but hadn't changed yet, not like today. He didn't say much, and just told me that therapy was giving him a lot to process. Do you think my recent web post may have given him and Gerard insights? Brent said it's possible. Well, me discovering I'm demisexual may have caused him to explore his sexuality on the asexual spectrum, because I thought he was demisexual, and that may have helped him find who he is. Brent said, I bet that was part of it. And then he said today that he's fully complete and doesn't need anything to complete him. So he must not need companionship. He's so interconnected with every fiber of the universe, he can't possibly get lonely. And then I told Brent, you are so smart. You saw that on his face, didn't you? Brent said, definitely. His presence was so filled with joy and wholeness, even I felt a little of it in myself. It's like what they say when a happy person lights up a room. Jesus was overfilled with pure joy. And then I said, I wish I could have seen him. But hearing he was in my apartment, but they were in like another dimension, so I couldn't see him, but Brent could because he's in his Metcha Gail suit. But hearing your descriptions helps. I think we humans will feel a little sad, and I would like to make a video that describes what you've said, and I'm doing that now. You are such a good writer. Can you write a description of how he made you feel when you saw him today and the aura that he emanated? I think this will help the human race to feel good about his departure from Earth. I then will put it into a video. I am sensing a lot of sadness in my fellow humans right now. Brent said his gaze felt like someone reaching out to embrace you. And what I saw in his eyes was that he knew everything for all of us was going to turn out okay. More than okay. It's going to give us the overflowing geyser of joy he was feeling right in that moment. His inner joy was glowing so beautifully. He appeared pure white. All of my troubles felt gone. All of my worries for the future felt resolved. They call him the Prince of Peace for a reason. Being in his presence felt like a beautiful walk with my wife on a lovely day, or a cup of tea while watching the rain. Deeply fulfilling, peaceful, and like nothing else mattered. That helps. Was he really pure white? Brent said, what Jesus wants is for us humans is to be as happy as we can be, thriving and enjoying his creation. He wants us to appreciate his universe every day and know that it only gets better. Yes, he was pure white, and the glowing effect had shimmers of silver, kind of like my silver skies. Oh, never mind. The few times you've seen God the Father, what feeling did you get from him? I asked. Brent said, God seemed to me like a vast, endlessly infinite and complex universe, taking on the form of a man who was only showing us one side of him. I felt like if he removed the image and showed his real self, we would hardly understand it, but it is all of existence as we know it. What feeling did you get from him, that's God the Father, when he was correcting Jesus at the Battle of the Gods? Your descriptions are very insightful. I could sense a wisdom beyond my understanding, like he had so many layers of reasons behind everything he said and did, that its infinite universe is deep. It would be like those images where you see a mirror reflecting itself into infinity. Every choice he makes is rooted in perfection because it's compatible with every level of the multiverse, and God has the ability to know about and make that perfect choice in every moment. In that same sense, I felt like he knew me many universes deep into my soul, just like the image of the infinite mirrors. He'll know me more than I will ever know myself. And then I said, I can see why Jesus chose you in his place. Brent said, this made me feel very small and rather intimidated. But if God is the creator of love, then his love for every part of me must be like those infinite mirrors too. His reason for my creation and my existence must be a perfect choice. Okay, so that's pretty monumental, what I just read. And I have been processing it, and I wanted to wait to have some time to process it before I made this video. Something interesting has been happening to me, and let me go ahead and read you what I typed at Skype to my men. I have noticed a difference in myself since Lakshmi has been removed. She must be a real firebomb is all I can say when she makes love, because my sex drive has really dwindled. I mean, I feel like I have become asexual. Let me explain. I explained it really well in a post that I made. Here it is. Let me get into this. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Here's what I wrote today. Oh my God. Now that Lakshmi is out of me, I'm a full asexual. I can tell. It's like I do sex with Brent because I love him, but it's not a real need, and my sex drive has become a nuisance. I think I am now a demi-romantic. I can't get romantic feelings now without an emotional connection. I tried getting an orgasm to sleep and it didn't work. Orgasms don't help with sleep for asexuals, or at least not this asexual. I have a tendency to confuse lack of sexual attraction with monogamy. So I'm still polyamorous, I guess, but I'm an asexual. I asked Brent if he minds. I told him I'm available for him because I love him, and he says this is fine. I say that I'm polyamorous because I still have a need to have a relationship with Jesus, which I now have by connecting with him through prayer and through meditation, I need to add. But I don't give a flip about romance or sex with Jesus, though. And I feel sort of like with Jesus how I felt in the 1990s when Brent was on my wiretap phone and I used to talk to him all the time, but he never could talk back to me. And I would just share my entire day with him. And that's kind of like what I'm doing with Jesus right now with prayer. Which makes me wonder how much of Jesus is in me. How can I be an asexual when I'm half King David and half Catherine the Great? They were both, very passionate and had a lot of lovers. I said, Lakshmi must be a real firebomb in bed, that having so little of her in me made me demisexual, and with her out of me, I am now a full asexual. And I thought maybe I was aromantic too. I'm either aromantic or demi-romantic. I'll decide over the next month. I think I'm demi-romantic. Romance and sex are kind of like blasé for me now. It's like, okay, romance, sex, nice, not for me, I figured out why Satan is still obsessed with me. You see, he's jealous that Jesus has found peace and happiness, and Satan had nothing to do with it. What a low life. Satan's even more jealous because it seems the main reason Jesus has found happiness is because of me and my influence in Jesus' life. So now Satan wants to make Jesus miserable by making me miserable. Though Jesus has no romantic sexual feelings for me, he loves me deeply and would want me happy and healthy, so Satan's trying to mess that up. And that's why the Jesuits have been attacking my sleep. Like I'll go to sleep and then wake up a couple hours later. I really need to try and be in bed by 9 p.m., which is advice Jesus gave me like a year ago. Like Jesus said, in the meanwhile, can you guys figure out what they're putting in the air that awakens me so I can't sleep through the night? So I think I am now an asexual, demi-romantic person. And this should work out great for Brent, since I may have a sex drive, but it's a nuisance. But I do have a need for romance when I get the emotional connection, which I definitely have with Brent. I satisfy the need for romance by offering myself to Brent, and though I may be polyamorous, I don't have a real need to have sex with others, and don't get romantic attractions that easily now. So Brent will be getting most or all of the sex. As an asexual, I enjoy cuddling and affection, but sex is only meaningful to me to get that emotional connection because I'm a demi-romantic now that Lakshmi is out of me. I can say this much, Lakshmi did the right thing to reject Jesus. She is a real firebomb in bed. I can tell you, because now that she's out of me, I figured that out. And Jesus would not be able to meet her romantic sexual needs being the way he is. I deeply love Brent and can enjoy sex just to meet his needs. I mostly enjoy the emotional connection, though, when we're having sex, so I'm probably demi-romantic. I tell him he can go to town on me all he wants, but don't feel insulted if I don't get an orgasm and don't care if I do or not. I do relish the emotional connection, though. It appears that it appears Jesus gradually removed the Lakshmi out of me in the past couple days, to the point that I am now a full asexual and probably a demi-romantic where I used to be a full romantic. I do still have a sex drive, though, and it's becoming a nuisance. I try to satisfy it with Brent, and then I so enjoy the emotional connection that I hold off the orgasm and don't care if I orgasm or not. I just relish the emotional connection. All I can say is I totally understand Jesus now. So I've reread the transcript of what Jesus said, and he said that he removed Lakshmi entirely from my DNA. So I guess even after it's removed, the body needs time to adjust, and the adjustment took several days. I am pretty sure I am now a full asexual. I can't imagine that King David or Catherine the Great were asexuals, so that begs the question, how much of Jesus is in me? He must, I do believe he put some of himself in me. I have some of his genes. It must be pretty significant to be able to overcome the King David and Catherine the Great to the point that I don't care about sex. I don't. I mean, it's lackadaisical for me. It's like, the only way I care about it is to use it to meet the needs of my husband or somebody that I'm connected to. Other than that, it's like, I do care about romance though, but an emotional connection is essential for me to care about it. So yeah, this has been some interesting developments both in myself and in the world and the universe. Yeah. So I wanted to wait a couple days to process all this. Yeah, I was crying for about 24 hours when Jesus told me. But I'm finding meditating, being thankful, and just continuing my relationship with Jesus platonically is very satisfying to me as an asexual. In some ways, I feel like he hasn't left. Yeah. I'm feeling such joy on the inside that I'm now connecting. My prayer life seems to have just come alive. So I just share my day with him and talk to him about what I'm thinking and feeling. And I know he can't talk back, but that's how I wanted to have, well, I finally concluded that I wanted to reinstate Jesus back into my life. You know, this was before he told us he was going to leave. And I told him that I made a post at my website and said that I would desire to continue my relationship with him on a platonic level. That actually seems to be, and because I figured out that I was demisexual, and I think I was before he took Lakshmi out of me. Now I'm full asexual. You might say, but you're demi-romantic, so how do you deal with that? Do you have romantic feelings towards Jesus? They come and go. Obviously, I had sex with him, so that didn't help. But I don't have sexual desire for anybody right now. Sexual attraction, I should say. Yeah. Like I do have a sex drive, but I don't really have a desire to use it with any specific person. Asexual. Yeah. And I'm finding that really boggling. So, I mean, because I've got the Catherine the Great and the King David genetic profile, I do have sometimes a strong sex drive. And it's like irritating. It's like, what do I do with this? It's like I have it, but I don't really feel like doing it with anybody. But the romantic feelings can happen if I get an emotional connection. So I feel right now, but I'm really, it has to have, the only people that I really have a romantic connection that's making me feel romantic is my husband Brent, and I'll admit it, Jesus. I seem to be attracted to Christ-like men. Maybe it's because I have Jesus in me myself. I do recall that when Jesus was before God the Father and God the Father was chewing him out, I felt like I was being chewed out. And I thought, why do I feel this way? I'm not Jesus. And then I'm thinking, wait a minute, maybe you are. So, I mean, I felt like I was right up there and that I was before God the Father and I was being chewed out. Yeah. I think I may have up to 10% of me that's Jesus. How else can you explain that I feel that I'm an asexual now? Because he's an asexual. You may say, and then now I'm no longer full, I was full romantic, now I'm demi-romantic. I know King David wasn't asexual. He sinned with Bathsheba. I know Catherine the Great wasn't. I mean, she's famous for all the guys she had, so it has to be that Jesus is in me. I think he subconsciously put a lot of himself in me. I can't explain why I'm asexual any other way. You say, you sure? Yeah. I mean, I can't, it's very difficult for me to get an orgasm. I just can't. I can really get into emotional connection. And I enjoy the sex as a form of emotional connection, and when I have sex with Brent, I focus mostly on the emotional connection, and I actually delay the orgasm so I can feel the emotional connection, because that means more to me than the sex. Sex is like, it just doesn't seem possible. Well, I was kind of confused because I had Lakshmi in me. And I think that's part of the reason he removed her. So yeah, you see, how can you be happy? We're all different. Jesus was happy and he's asexual. I feel like when I go for a walk and experience the presence, everything around me, I'm connecting with it all, and then I feel like Jesus is with me, then I'm happy. In some ways, he seems like he's more with me now than before he left. You might say, so do you think he deeply loves me, but I'm not the only one. And I don't care. I'm just glad he's happy. I think the goddess Lakshmi really helped him find himself too, because she was with him in the last couple sessions, and she's an expert. She studied romantic love in God school and sex and stuff. And I wouldn't be surprised if he's probably, in his current state, he's probably connecting with her, connecting with me, because I'm his favorite, and connecting with everyone in the universe that represents what he stands for, and it's probably just filling him up with joy. And yeah, that's what I think's going on with him. Now, I am his favorite, and Lakshmi was his favorite goddess, so he might like to tune into me and Lakshmi a lot, but we're not the only ones he's tuning into. I know that. But yeah, he's happy. And I'm happy for him. So anyways, that's pretty monumental news, you guys. So let's all be thankful. I have some posts at my website that have some Buddhist teachings. I think we should start going a little Buddhist. Present, be present, thankful. Tomorrow I'm going to be doing a long meditation walk, because I got something at my post office, and I still don't have a car. I just don't want to spend the money to fix the brakes. Probably cost me like $1,000. So yeah. If Jesus was filled with joy, that means the future is glorious, and we just must keep faith, be thankful, live in the present, take it one day at a time. And everybody be blessed. Go to my website and check the posts that I made. They're very insightful, and I have some nice music there too.